Hi folks, Jonathan here once again, Spiritual Speakeasy time. Hope you're all keeping well, hope you're all doing okay out there and keeping sane in this amazingly mad world that we're living in right now. I thought I'd just come along today to talk to you a little bit about the wonderful world of spirit guides. My spirit guide in particular, one of them who I work with and have worked with for many years, a guide called Phoenix. Before I go any further on this subject, I'd like to just explain to anybody who's never kind of come across this stuff before, this work, what a spirit guide is, or even what a medium is. Just a little bit of an explanation if I can do that for you. I am a spiritual medium, which means I receive information from people generally who have passed over. I also receive information through many sources, mainly working with energy. Now, energy is an amazing thing because it's all around us. Science is working with energy all the time. Everybody works with energy all the time. We kind of energetic beings. We exist in this conscious field of energy. And certain people on this planet have an ability to be able to connect with these energies. It's not just certain people. I've got to put that forward, folks. We are all capable of doing what I do, what others do, and what many people do across the earth. It's not a magic club. We are all amazing, divine beings, receptors and transmitters of information. All we have to do is to learn how to tap into that and how to use it. It's a wonderful experience, a wonderful journey that I've been on over the last 25, 26, possibly even 27 years, I lose count. But in that time, I have learned so much, and I would never say to anybody that I look back on that time as a time of not understanding, of wanting to discard it all or move away. It's been an amazing journey of discovery, and it continues to be so. It's more like an adventure. And that's how we really should see life, as an adventure. Many times we get low, we get down, and let's face it, the last 12 months or so have been a time of basically great issues, great problems, great challenges on many, many different levels. Emotional being one of them, physical being another. And the challenges that we face on a near enough daily basis, laws changing, things changing around us, being told that we can't do this, we can't do that, our freedom's being eroded, it seems, on a daily basis. And many times the way to help us to deal with this is to go within, because that's where we find the truth. And you'll hear me talk about that in previous videos. But today I want to talk about a little bit about mediumship and about these spirit guides, these wonderful beings that seem to want to come around us and help us. Now, I work on three main energy centers. The first one is clairvoyance, which is, we call it the third eye. And it is almost like having literally a third eye where we see things. And images, telepathic images, are transmitted into the mind. And they consist of pictures, just like photographs or even movie clips. I also receive information in my inner ear in what's called clairaudience, which is the ability to be able to hear voices. And then I also receive information through the heart center, which we call clairsentience. So the three channels are clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience that I work with. There are many other clairs, as we call them. That's just French for clear. So clear sight, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clear hearing, and clair feeling or emotion, clairsentience. So you may already be aware of your own gifts and abilities, you may not. But we can, and people will argue against this, but we are divine beings, we are all capable of this. We just need to learn to tap into these fields. and we are all capable. And I wonder what it would be like for our children to begin to learn these things at school, to be able to bring these wonderful gifts towards our children in their early years, and knowing that many of our children are all so receptive to this, already receptive to this. But at some point, and usually within our schooling, we tend to cut that ability off, which is a great shame, but the world's changing, folks, and eventually we will begin to school our children using our innate psychic communicative, I'll say that again, communicative, whatever, our amazing psychic and communicative abilities. I got it out in the end. So, communication between ourselves and unseen dimensions. Thankfully, science is beginning to prove that these dimensions now do exist. I'm not saying that they prove a spirit world exists, but if they are proving that dimensions exist at least, then we then have to open the field up a little bit wider and understand that there may be a possibility that there are dimensions where other beings exist outside of our own physical reality. I've been very privileged in my life to have some very close, connective and amazing relationships with my spirit guides. And my early guides that I became consciously aware of generally didn't speak, but through actions I would understand exactly what they were trying to communicate to me. And over time we evolve, our spirit progresses, our frequency, the vibration that we work on begins to rise. We go up, if you like, a spiritual ladder is the best way I can describe it. Stepping up the rungs of the spiritual ladder. And we are doing this constantly and not even aware of it, by the way. So just be aware in your own conscious existence that you are constantly evolving in a spiritual sense. And at some point in your life, you may begin to connect with the unseen dimensions. And this can sometimes be a moment of great awakening. It can be sometimes a moment of fear or great elation or confirmation that we've always known something about ourselves but just could not quite place our fingers on it, knowing that we were a little bit different, that we may not have fitted into society in some way, or we could see things that others couldn't. But one thing's for sure is that when we become consciously aware of our spiritual ability, life changes. Life can only change from that point in. And we can call it an awakening, call it an emancipation, because the more that we begin to learn and accept our abilities, the more that we become free of the bounds of this earth, knowing that there is so much more outside of our physical reality. So, it's good to know that there are people out there who can help us. There are many organisations on this planet that can help us and train us to work with our psychic abilities once we become conscious of them. I, on the other hand, wasn't particularly conscious of my psychic ability until the age of 30, when it came to me just like that. There was no lead up to it. Well, in hindsight, I suppose there was a lead up to it, but not with any expectation. And I'll tell you that story another time. But now we're going to talk about spirit guides. And these wonderful beings who wish to come around us, once we become consciously aware of our own spirit, and we can begin to feel, hear and see others around us that people in this world can't see, then we have to learn to trust in them and in the information which they give us. And our guides work on many different levels and in many different ways. There is not one single person who you will find who works with guides exactly the way that I do. And as I mentioned, I've been very privileged with my experience of working with spirit guides in the fact that many of them do actually speak, and they will speak to me as I am speaking to you now, and they will give me information, and they will give me information about myself and about the world around me. And one of those guides who I have been so privileged to work with over many, many years started out, who came to me as a Native American spirit guide. And people might wonder, you know, about the Native Americans. Well, the Native Americans, as we know or come to understand, are what I class as earth people, people who learned to live in harmony with planet Earth. Something, a little itch on my nose there, something which mainly the Western world are actually guilty of not doing. We've forgotten how to live in harmony with the earth. And many of those guides that come through to us decided to take a break from their earthly existence and raise their consciousness a little bit higher, and decided to come through to help us down here on earth. And many appear in the form of Native Americans. This is not to say, however, that they are actually Native Americans, because we question, and I question, and this is part of who I am and my relationship with my guides, is that I constantly question them. I question what they say to me, and they know that I need the truth, that I need to find the truth. And we can all work with our guides, and we can ask them and show them the ways that we would like to work with them, and they are very obliging. But on this amazing journey, this particular guide, who came to me with the name of Freebird, was quite amazing and would take me on many journeys in meditation. And I learned so much from this guide in those meditations. And then this guide disappeared, vanished, and the energy left me. And I became to understand that guides work on a certain vibration, that when our vibration rises, and we're talking about going up that spiritual ladder here, that our guides then move on and will work with someone else on a similar vibration. But a new guide then needs to come in and work on our new vibration, our fresh vibration, the new frequency. So this guide left, a new guide came in, and for many months I worked with a different guide. And then one time, possibly about 6 months later, I felt an energy come back to me, and I recognised that energy. And that energy was of Freebird. And Freebird came to me and said, I'm going to show you something. And Freebird always appeared to me as a Native American chief. And I replied, well, what do you want to show me? And Freebird said to me, I don't look like this. This is not my form. I do not have form. and explained to me that many times our guides appear to us in a form which we feel comfortable with, which they know we will be happy to work with. So I said, okay, well, you show me what you are. And as I was kind of thinking those words in my mind, the image of Freebird began to break apart, to disintegrate into tiny little pieces. And as that began to happen, this light just began to shine out from within the image that I knew as Freebird. And the whole of my vision, in a clairvoyant sense, was filled with this light of this amazing being. And then Freebird said to me, I am light. This is my true form. And then what happened was, I felt an energy behind me, a very, very powerful energy. And an image came to me of a bird-like figure stretching out its wings, standing behind me. And this bird-like figure with its wings outstretched changed into a recognizable image. And the image became the image of the fiery phoenix. And this fire came out, and this phoenix image came out. And then the phoenix image, just as you would expect with a phoenix, it burned and burned and then just disappeared, leaving the ashes. And at this point, this energy, this new energy came to me. And this was the first communication with my higher vibration guide, who I now call Phoenix. And Phoenix always greets me with the words, I am Phoenix, your guide and mentor. And when those words are uttered, I know I am working with the true guide, the energy and the spirit of Phoenix. Now, just to take things a little bit further, folks, when I talk about Phoenix, Phoenix has made it categorically known to me that Phoenix is not an individual entity. Phoenix is a collective consciousness, a collection of many consciousnesses, not just the one. Because in spirit, as we evolve in spirit form, our need to be individual subsides, and we become part of the greater sea of consciousness, all working for the highest good, for the oneness. However, Phoenix retains a certain amount of individuality in order to be able to communicate with me. So here's this wonderful being who is on its progressive path, if you like, its spiritual progressive path, that has now merged into a collective sea of consciousness, but retains the ability to speak with me through the clairaudient channel, and with that inspires me to write. And if you follow my Facebook page, Jonathan Halstead, Medium and Sound Therapist, you will see many of the teachings and writings of Phoenix all laid out there. But what I want to do now, folks, is to introduce you to the very first communication I received from Phoenix, which I was inspired to write down. Now, I was pondering whether I should tell you this little bit of information or not. And I'm going to do anyway. So this will be a test of how good your visualization abilities are. Many times I would receive information from Phoenix while meditating in the bath, which for a short time was wonderful, but I would always then be inspired to want to get out of the bath very quickly and begin to write. And to begin to write the information down. And we're just being joined by Pig again. You might be getting to know Pig by now. She's our wonderful little rescue tabby who's getting on in years. She can be very cute and fluffy and everybody loves her and wants to stroke her, but she can also be a little bit vicious and a little bit grumpy sometimes. So she may want to stay with us in this energy. Anyway, so I'm hoping that by now you've dispelled the image of me climbing out of the bath, and I would have to go and sit at my computer, get dried very quickly, get my dressing gown on and go and sit at the computer and write. And this particular occasion, I was given information. This was, and I'm reading this, folks, I'm going to read this, I can't remember it all, was given to me on the 26th of June 2009. And what's amazing about this information is that it relates very much to the here and now, to actually the times that we've been going through since March of 2020. So I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to read it verbatim because I feel every single word is important. And bearing in mind that this was an introduction to me, so this was the first time we'd really ever had a communication. So now I'm being worshipped by Pig, and I'm going to try and read this to you. Okay? Are you alright, Pig? Are you sitting comfortably? So, here we go. My name is Phoenix. I do not possess a physical body. I do not have a name, but for purposes of introducing my consciousness to you, I will call myself Phoenix. I am not God, nor am I a god. I am divine consciousness, part of the divine consciousness that links us all together. Part of everything that your consciousness makes you aware of, and part of everything that your consciousness has yet to become aware of. I am divine, and so are you. It is this message that I now bring to you in the hope that it will raise your consciousness to another level. You are a divine being possessing divine powers. You have the ability to be anywhere, at any time, to see all things, past, present, and future, and to conduct your lives freely and responsibly. For centuries, you have become controlled by governments, sovereigns, and religious leaders. You have become the perfect slaves. You have been held in bondage by these beings who seek to suppress your divine nature. You are the perfect slaves because these beings make you believe that you are free, but nothing could be further from the truth. Every part of your lives is controlled by those who wish to suppress your powers. They seek to do this because they are afraid that if you awaken from this state, they would no longer have any power or hold over you. It is true, do you not feel, that the real nature of mankind is to live in harmony, to be peaceful, to love each other and love yourselves. It is your divine nature to help each other and heal each other and to live as one with nature. It is true that those who seek to rule you seek nothing but to bring disorder, war, poverty, pain, murder, and darkness. They have sought to destroy the planet and to exploit its resources. They have sought to suppress the light that shines from each and every one of you by making you believe that without them, your lives will be worth nothing. They have sought to bring fear to the face of the planet by constructing elaborate untruths about man hating his fellow man. It is also true that they will stop at nothing to bring more destruction and fear, for it is fear that suppresses your divine light. I now bring great joy to you, for it is now time for mankind to discover his rightful place in the divine garden of creation. Once more, your light will begin to shine, and you will all go forward into a great time of spiritual progression and creativeness. The great freedom of mankind is soon to take place. I ask you all now to bring light into your thoughts, to understand that you are divine, and to believe that you have the ability to achieve your heart's desires. Your science is beginning to reveal indisputable truths that have long been suppressed. With this freedom and knowledge will come great responsibility, and your wisdom will be paramount in helping to bring about this change. You will witness many great things in your lifetime as mankind begins this new path. And be aware that things will not happen overnight, but we in this divine consciousness wish to thank you for the part you are about to play. We ask that you remain steadfast, as many of your beliefs will be shattered. It will be necessary for many to seek help from the enlightened ones, those who have held the truth but have been suppressed. The time will come when these divine beings will be free to heal and to teach. We send our love and our light, and we ask that you can find the time within yourself to regularly send out positive healing thoughts to bring about this change so that peace, harmony, and well-being can be returned to this planet and all its dwellers. And that, folks, was given to me in June 2009. And I just want to say how every single word of that rings true in January 2021. That everything we are going through right now has been known about, and that it is part of our spiritual awakening, our release from the prison that we've been held in for so many years. And back in March last year, I remembered these words and I put them back on Facebook with exactly the sentiment that I've given you now, that those words mean so much right now. And the guidance we received from Phoenix all those years ago, telling us that this is what you will be going through. You will have to endure these times, but there will be better times ahead. And we've got to hold that thought, folks, right now. Every single one of us, we, humanity, have to hold those thoughts, that what we are going through, there is a means to an end. And these beautiful beings that come around us in these unseen dimensions are wanting to work through us and to give us these answers to our questions and to help to heal us, but more to the point is to teach us that we should be doing these things ourselves, that our own freedom has to be determined by us. Anyway, I'm going to give you a little bit more information that was given to me by Phoenix again, this time on the 5th of December 2010. We would like to take you on a journey that will bring many things into your life. We will bring many new ideas, and we will present you with old ideas and teachings, but in a way which is relevant to your time. We ask that you have an open mind, that you cast off the shackles of all that you have been taught by your system, a system which has enslaved you for thousands of years and is now about to pass away unto the realms of experience. We are not here to preach, we are not here to chastise you, and we are not here to fill you with guilt or fear. We are here to guide you and help you understand that now is the time that humanity needs to come to a realization. We ask you to know this, to know that there is no death, to know that you are eternal beings and that you are divine. We firstly need you to understand that your lives are totally controlled by your system. From the day that you are born into your current incarnation to the day that you return to your true home in the spirit dimensions, you are conditioned and controlled. You may ask how you are controlled, and you may ask why. These are far-reaching questions, and for those who wish to find the answers, we hope you can enlighten. I beg your pardon, I'll read that again. We hope we can enlighten you, but we ask that you keep your mind open, for we will present to you ideas that you may find absurd, strange, and sometimes utterly unacceptable. But throughout all this, we ask of you one thing. Do not just read these words, but feel these words with your heart and soul. Use your intuition, learn to listen to your inner voice and learn to distinguish what you know to be true. We say to you that empty words and deeds are always exposed for what they are, and that when you find the truth, it will feel as if you already knew the answer, but had just forgotten. And once rediscovered, it will never leave you. Each and every one of you who walks the face of the earth is spirit. You have residing within and around your physical form a spirit, a soul, a part of you which is the whole. You are conditioned by your system to question whether this spirit or soul may or may not exist, primarily because you cannot physically see it, and more importantly, your science has not yet proved it. There are those amongst you who have attained a higher degree of sight, those who can see the spirit form in all its glory, but still you are taught that even if it exists, it is only a part of you, something separate, that only seems to be important at times of sadness and grief and at low points in your life. You ask, why do we have to die? Our answer to you is that death in its physical form exists, so that you begin to ask questions and to seek answers and to make the emotional link to your true self, your divine consciousness. It is this very act that brings you closer to your own consciousness than at any other time. Ask yourself how the passing of someone you love has changed your life. When you can truly celebrate death and accept it as a divine gift from the one who has passed, then you will begin your true spiritual journey and set yourself on the road to freedom. What we have said may be hard for some, but please, we ask that you open your mind and know that your spirit is not separated from your body until the time of your physical passing. Your spirit and soul guide you through life and acts like a mentor, like a parent, gently guiding a child. Your spirit and soul is patient, forgiving, and will always put you back on the right pathway should you stray. We shall call this your true self, your higher consciousness, and it waits patiently to answer your questions. All you have to do is learn how to ask and learn how to listen. Again, I hope those words resonate with you folks. they certainly resonated with me and began to teach me a lot about why death exists and what happens around us, and the fact that we are part of the greater oneness. So I'm going to bring you forward right up to date, folks. I've been given some information today from Phoenix. Now, one thing about Phoenix is a trait of Phoenix that I find a little bit uncomfortable sometimes is that, and I refer to him as a he. He definitely comes across as a masculine energy, although he is part of a greater sea of consciousness. I'm still comfortable labelling him as he. So he has this habit of filling me with his divine love for a period of time and then disappearing. If you remember when I told you about the story of Freebird and Freebird's transformation into Phoenix, this seems to be a fairly regular thing with this particular guide. And in the last 12 months, I've questioned him about this, and he said, I cannot always be there when you ask, but my energy never leaves you. And at the beginning of lockdown in March 2020, Phoenix came back to me with the words, I am here to carry you through these times. And when he brought that to me, I became very emotional. And it took me a good 6 months to be able to say those words without my voice cracking a little bit. But that was wonderful. And he did explain to me that he never left me. It was just that my consciousness was not tuned into the vibration. So our guides never truly leave us, folks. I'm still very much aware of many of the guides that I've worked with, and that energy will always be a part of us. But I've noticed just recently, in recent times, that Phoenix is getting a little bit bolder in his language and a little bit more, I wouldn't say forceful is the right word, but certainly a stronger energy is how I want to put it. And I want to read this to you, which I received, actually it was yesterday, the 30th of January 21. And the title on this is, The Light is Beginning to Show. Look beyond the illusion and you will find it. So here goes. I'm going to read this to you, folks. As the world appears to continue to descend into an even deeper level of insanity, and the people appear to be growing ever divided, nothing could be further from the truth. You are all connected, and nothing can sever this connection, for it is the love within you that binds you to all creation. What you do not understand is that there are those who exist who are masters at manipulating physical reality. You are caught up in a war of the mind, a war of information, and a war on your very soul, a last-ditch attempt to quash your divinity. We know that some of you are losing hope, questioning your faith, and we send our love and healing to you at this time, but we wish you to understand that the power of the manipulators is at its weakest since they began to enslave you. Their construct is being dismantled piece by piece around them. The illusion they have cast on you is beginning to disintegrate. They are warmongers and have wreaked perpetual destruction on this planet to create states of fear for the purpose of profit and control. But in recent history, humanity has begun to question this So instead, they have sought ways to wage wars using unseen enemies. In their eyes, it was a masterstroke. The minds of the people enslaved by the use of fear of the unseen. Does this surprise you? It is a grand irony that those who are first to dismiss the existence of a spirit world filled with love and light are the ones who are using the power of the unseen to control you through darkness and fear. Does this not strike you as odd? Your controllers are masters at this level of manipulation. Their whole physical existence is based upon working in the shadows, working on the base emotions, the lowest of unseen frequencies. This surely is now becoming evident in all your walks of life through art, music, politics, religion, and all that holds influence over you. Compare today to the Renaissance period in your history and ask, are we advancing? Are we expressing love in creativity? Is it a loving thing to do to expose children to depictions of sexual depravity and glorification of violence through music and media? How low must humanity go before it wakes up to this level of manipulation of the mind? You are being manipulated and you do not know it. They congratulate themselves on their genius for deceiving you and making you believe that this existence which you are living is normal. We cannot save you. No one can save you except yourselves. It is your responsibility to break free of the illusion and manipulation which has enslaved you for eons. You allowed yourselves to succumb to it, and only through this process of self-realization will you emancipate yourselves. We can only advise and send love and healing. The enemy is not your neighbour, not your friend, and not your family. It is you, yourself, and the lack of control you exercise over your willingness to be manipulated and to allow the fear of the unseen to smother you. Fear is not your friend. Those who incite fear are fearful for their own existence. Those who hide the truth are fearful for their own existence. Fear begets fear. It is a sickness in the mind and body and holds the power to hide from you who you truly are. If you see yourself as a reflection of God, of the divine source of all love, fear cannot deceive you. If you understand that you are connected to all of creation, existence and consciousness, fear cannot enslave you. If you allow the love of the divine spirit into your heart, you will understand true love and know that these times are a gift to you and all of humanity in the form of a key. The key to unlock your divine potential and to set yourselves free. Wipe your eyes and wake up from the deception. Love each other, be kind to each other, heal each other. Fear cannot manipulate divine love. Guide yourself by your own heart, by your own light, and know that these things are your connection to the divine source of all love. Your controllers have chosen the pathway of fear over love. They want you to be a reflection of themselves. Connect with love, remove the veil of amnesia from your minds and the fear from your hearts. Remember who you are and walk free. The light is returning, the light is beginning to show. Look beyond the illusion and you will find it. So folks, that message to me is almost repeating the message going back to 2009. Asking humanity to wake up to its own divine potential. Remembering who we are. Remembering that we are divine beings. When we came to earth, our memory is wiped, and it is part of our divine pathway to rediscover and remember who we are. These times, folks, as Phoenix said, are a gift to every single being on this planet that walks in human form, to awaken to a higher vibration, a higher frequency of being, and a better way of living. I give my gratitude and thanks to these wonderful beings, these spirit beings, which we call guides, and all those beings who wish to come through to help us, who show us love, and true guidance. And I send my love to them. So I just wanted to introduce you to Phoenix. And every so often Phoenix will return and give me information, and I will freely share that with the whole of humanity. Thank you very much for listening, folks, once again. And whatever you do, enjoy life. Bring things into life which give you joy. Because in these times, the things which bring us joy appear to be being taken away from us. But we can find joy in the smallest things, and we can find joy through the connection of spirit, and we will also find love. So take that with you, folks. Whatever you do, have a wonderful life. Open yourself up to the wider consciousness, and we will begin to see a better world forming. Thank you.